Last time I covered the monitor, it was also QD OLED, and this time we have it again, but in an ultra-wide combination, well, design, form factor, 34-inch actually. So today we're going to talk about Philips EVNIA 34M2C6500, and it's quite interesting because, first of all, okay, it's not 4K resolution, it's 3440 times 1440. Then we're having 175 Hz refresh rate, 0.03 milliseconds gray to gray response time, and outstanding picture, outstanding colors, bright, vivid. I'm really digging this new, well, not new, but basically this panel that goes recently into these gaming monitors. From AOC to Philips, it's really outstanding, and I'm really enjoying the colors in every game that I played. So I played again Spider-Man Miles Morales, Hogwarts Legacy, and Witcher 3, and you know why I go with Witcher 3 and why I use that game specifically, and I really enjoyed it. The only thing when you take into consideration the ultra-wide monitor, and even though the games do look outstanding, is when you have those cutscenes, or how do you call those specific animations, they aren't, in some games at least, they aren't in full screen. So they aren't in 21:9, they are in 16:9, and this is maybe for some of you a problem. So this might give you some idea about it. So let's go into some visual aspect. We have three thin bevels in terms of edges, but you still have a black line around each and every side segment. The top one is a bit thinner than the side ones. And then we have a quite nice minimalistic, aesthetically pleasing design. On the left side we have an EVNIA logo, on the right side we have an indication light when it's turned on, and Philips logo, and quite cool stand where at first when I was unboxing it I thought it was actually dirty, but it isn't. It's the same thing as those white EVNIAs I covered, the 49-inch and so on. They usually have grayish, light gray with all those dots and some sort of a texture, and this one has it as well, even though it's in black color scheme. So I'm actually really digging the black version, well, the dark gray version of the EVNIA monitors, because they also look cool compared to the white ones. And when we go furthermore and continue on the stand, at the back we have a possibility to adjust the height, swivel, and tilt. You can't rotate the monitor, which is kind of straightforward, logical, because it's a 34-inch, and some can, yes, but this one can't. The thing about this monitor when you're unboxing it, and since I'm at that point, as when you're unboxing it and when you have to assemble everything, the bottom stand is separated from the main stand. You have that you have a possibility to use a screwdriver, but you're basically using your fingers to attach the bottom stand to the top stand, well, the main stand, and then the back side, this time you don't have to use any screws, you just have to pop it in. That's all there is to it. So it's really, I would say, toolless, and that's really good. At the back, at the big stand, the main stand, we have cable rerouting clip, which gives you an option to reroute the cables. Now, it's better than usual in terms of cable management, but it's still something that it needs to be improved. It definitely needs to be improved, because you're having cables going on the side of the stand and then going at the back, and as you can see, they are maybe in this angle aren't visible, but if you're facing the monitor straight forward, you'll be seeing it if you don't attach it like so. So yeah, specifically if you do this, if you push it upwards, you're seeing cables dangling without a problem, and that for some of you guys, and specifically for me as well, isn't appealing. Now at the back, I don't know if this was intentional, because Philips EVNIA has this type of stand usually. We're having a top part that is a bit extended, so you could use it as a headset stand, and that's kind of cool, because you're not additionally spreading your monitor, because I do understand some of you guys have limited space. So you're actually thinking of, if you're going with a 34-inch, you're going in the last millimeter of placing this monitor and trying to occupy as much as possible, and you don't want to place a headset here. You don't want to place it at the back if you have to extend the arm and this is incorporated inside the stand in those terms, and it doesn't extend the monitor size, width, height, and depth in any other scenario. So as I said, 34-inch 4040p resolution and 21:9 ratio. We're having QD OLED panel and 1000 nits peak brightness. The color support is 1.07 billion colors 10-bit. Typical color gamut is sRGB 148.8%, Adobe RGB is 97.8%, and DCI-P3 is 99.3%. Contrast ratio is 1:1,000,000. It has Mega Infinity DCR Smart Contrast. Response time is, as already stated, 0.03 milliseconds gray to gray. Horizontal and vertical viewing angle is 178 degrees. And it also has a picture enhancement called Smart Image Game. Now, HDMI, and this is unfortunately on my side what I encountered, and actually it states in their website, HDMI works at 100 Hertz, which is a shame. And to be honest, I do have to admit that's really a shame. But at 3440, 4040 at 175 Hertz, it's working only with DisplayPort. Delta E is less than 2, has support for flicker-free, low blue mode, low input lag, easy read, and adaptive sync. Display screen coating is anti-reflection 2H. It also has Display HDR True Black 400 certification. Going to OSD menu, we have a chance to adjust the ambiglow at the backside of the monitor, which is a bit brighter than usual. Nothing, well, I wouldn't say spectacular, but nothing that will paint the wall entirely for some sort of an immersion, let's put it this way. Although you can follow the color of the images of the screen, which is great. So OSD menu, we have a Smart Corsair, we have Shadow Boost, Smart Sniper, Multi-View with picture by picture and picture in picture for 2 devices. And basically all standard settings, which is really user-friendly. We have a controller, basically not a controller, but a joystick at the back side of the monitor, which is also used to power on and off the monitor. Now, connections, we have power connector, which means that the adapter is integrated inside the monitor, finally. I'll have to say that, finally, because I really hate those bricks on the table, beneath the table, or anywhere else. Just for that thickness additionally in the monitor, just integrated inside it, which will definitely be much more easier to organize everything. And then we have 2 HDMI 2.0, one DisplayPort 1.4, headphone out, USB 3.2 generation 1 5 gigabit per second, USB-B upstream, then we have 2 USB-A downstream with one for fast charging. It supports VESA mount 100x100 with VESA bracket. So this is the only scenario where you have to use a screwdriver to mount that VESA bracket. Well, basically to something wall mount or a hand or whatever. So yeah. Adjustment height is 130 millimeters from the lowest point to the highest point. But the lowest point, and as I've seen a couple of comments already, in the past reviews, the lowest point is 7.5 centimeters with the stand, the highest point is 20.5 centimeters, so the difference between those is 130 millimeters. Swivel is from minus to plus 30 degrees, and tilt is from -5 to plus 20. In gaming, I really enjoyed it, and when you actually look at, you have loads of presets in the OSD menu, which can definitely automatically adjust your screen to whatever you're watching. So we have movie, we have RTS, we have FPS, we have gaming in general, movie, reading, and everything all together. I haven't seen more presets than on this monitor, on this Philips EVNIA. This is outstanding. I do have to admit, because you actually see the difference. On some presets, on other monitors, you couldn't be able to see the difference that much. So in those terms, it's good. So I placed it on standard just for the sake of testing it out of the box, and I was amazed in all 3 games that I tested, specifically when we go in that low light mode in terms of gaming. So when you go into those dark areas, it's still visible nicely. I was actually playing with all softboxes turned on, so that's my mistake. But in general, I was still able to see because the brightness was insane, and you can actually see the difference. You can actually see the difference, and that's really good. In terms of fluidity, there's nothing else to say about it. I mean, it's really enjoyable. So yeah, connection type. So I do have to mention some things. Cable management, so-so. Okay, better than the last time, but still needs work. Type-C missing. For some of you guys that want to go, and let's be honest, if you're going with a multi-view with picture by picture and picture in picture, you really need that Type-C. Fast charging, if you want to have a, I don't know, a laptop on the side and a computer on the side, why not connect your laptop with something that automatically charges as well? That would be outstanding, to be honest. Now, there's also one more thing. So when you move your table, it kind of wobbles a bit. But honestly, all monitors that I tested recently have that, so I won't go too much into that. So I think that's all when it comes to not negative, but cons. And when we're talking about positive stuff, the screen is outstanding. We have a gloss finish, which is such nicely, I wouldn't say diffused, but that anti-glare is brilliantly working. And even with the soft boxes turned on, when one of them actually was pointed directly and the camera caught it, it doesn't look that devastating. It doesn't look that tragic like on past gloss models that were hideous, let's be honest. So the colors are insane, and I really enjoyed testing it out, working on it, playing and whatever. So yeah, big thumbs up for this one. This one is really cool if you're aiming for an ultra wide. And the thing is, here's the catch. So usually 34-inch in this scenario, what I managed to find out, of course you have those cheap ones, don't get me wrong, you have those that are much cheaper, and I'm talking about proper monitor, right? So we have usually price circulating around 1,000 euros, and I found even in Croatia for 1,000 euros, which basically isn't strange. But then I found it in Europe in general for 700 euros, UK going for 600 to 700 pounds, something like that, and okay, US 600. So yeah, that's almost 200 less in all currencies than some competitors, and it brings outstanding stuff. I mean, would it be higher in the price category if they added Type-C, if they added better cable management, if they added not wobbliness of the screen or anything similar to that? But honestly, if you're really bugged with that wobbliness or something similar to that and cable management, VESA mount hands, table, wall mounts aren't that even expensive. So if you add that for, I would say 30, 40, let's say from Arctic, they have outstanding ones. I have 3 at the back, so yeah, you have a cable management possibilities. They're really sturdy, so the monitor doesn't wobble. And the good thing, all of those stands have cable rerouting canals. So for 750, 630, or I don't know what was the pound price range, you still get cheaper monitor with additional stands than the competitor. So yeah, big thumbs up. PC Crazy approved badge for this one, definitely. And I think this is the 3rd or 4th monitor that I'm giving PC Crazy approved badge specifically. I don't know, it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, the link is in the description, definitely. So my warm recommendations for Philips EVNIA 34M2C6500. And that'll be all for today, guys. See you tonight. Well, basically you won't see me, you'll see the build. Bye.